Mike, we're a little late on this, but that's because we've been busy getting all the deals.
All the deals. Did you get deals? Did you buy me things from the deals? What'd you do?
Time will tell. I don't want to spoil any holiday presents.
That means you didn't do anything.
Today we're talking about the shopping day known as Black Friday, which takes place the day after the American holiday of Thanksgiving.
Of which there is some truly inescapable irony.
Right, I've always thought this, even as a kid. So Thanksgiving is this time to pause and reflect on what we have to be thankful in our lives, which is a lot every year, including this year. Mm-hmm. But then like 12 hours later, you can go beat down people at a store to get a deal on a PlayStation.
Yeah, it's like I'll take some time, I'll be thankful, and then I will be thankful for unbridled consumerism the next day.
Maximum capitalism.
So anyway, should we start with some history? Because it hasn't always been the fastest way to get a PlayStation with a punch up in the middle. So should we start with some history? I've got some history for you.
Okay, let's do it.
Well, the history of it is unknown. So this is one of those things where, hey, I know you're already going, hey, but Mike, don't you know it's because of this? Well, the main don't you know we're going to get to in a little bit, but we're actually going to start by talking about Santa Claus, because since the 19th century, Santa has been a part of the holiday push put on by department stores and other retail stores, often appearing right after Thanksgiving.
You got to get those Xbox sales in the 19th century, you know?
Exactly.
I don't think they were selling Xboxes then. Nintendo's been around a long time, though, right? Were they around in the 19th century?
Didn't you know Nintendo made playing cards?
Yeah, that was their start, right?
That's the thing. That's the other, don't you know?
You're learning so much here today.
Mm-hmm.
In the early 1950s, 51 and 52, the term, quote, Black Friday was used in Engineering Magazine to describe the practice of factory workers calling in sick for the day after Thanksgiving so they could enjoy a 4-day weekend.
So as you see at this point, we have these two terms, or these two things that are not connected, right? You have the push of retail that starts straight after Thanksgiving, and then you have Black Friday, which happened on that day, but was meant completely differently. And around the same time, the term was being used in Philadelphia to describe the crowds and traffic congestion caused by the start of the Christmas shopping season.
That's right, because the prefix black came from the name of days that saw calamities. Like if you can go back and read all this stuff, like there was a thing...
The Black Plague.
The Black Plague. There was an issue with like the gold reserves in the 1920s or something. Retailers didn't like this, right? They didn't like to be associated with a word that meant doom and gloom. So in 1961, Philadelphia shops banded together to rebrand the day Big Friday, but it didn't stick.
Another attempt to rework the name away from huge disasters came in the 1980s. Retailers may operate at a loss for most of the year, making the bulk of the revenue in the holiday season, which kicks off the day after Thanksgiving. Black Friday would then mark the day that went from companies being in the red, so in deficit, to being in the black, in profit. And that is the one that everybody tells around the Thanksgiving table. But I don't think that it is as simple as we have laid out as you may think it is.
It also seems like a bit of a self-own.
Yes, it's like we suck so bad that we don't make any money until the end of November. But like, look, I had worked in retail previously in my life, and there is that real thing, like because the kind of money that a lot of retail businesses do draw in over this period is astronomical. Like, so that's just kind of the way that their businesses end up running. Is
sure. It's
not so much that they operate in deficit for so long. So they made so much money at the end of the year, it carries them through most of the next year. You know, that's the positive way of looking at it, I guess. But the Black Friday term really does feel like more like one of those kind of backronym type scenarios.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, it also could be used for this.
Even my days in the Apple store, which was busy all the time and made money year round, there was definitely a giant uptick during the holidays.
Yeah, definitely.
My first job there was to stand behind a table and just sell iPods to people. Like I was the iPod guy.
I bet that was lucrative.
I mean, not for me. It was for Apple.
Yeah.
Had a little tip jar out. No, I'm just kidding. So while we're here in the 1980s, it should be said that by this point, the term was spreading from the Northeast across the country and beyond, fueled by shoppers who had often had the day off, forgetting the woes of industrial workers just decades before.
In the last 20 years, the term has become ubiquitous, with some retailers experimenting with opening on Thanksgiving to help better accommodate the crowds looking for deals. However, in recent years, the trend has reversed as the public has been less interested in trading their turkey and dressing for a slice of capitalism.
Of course, here in 2020, Black Friday continued the shift to online shopping, as getting in a big line to go into a crowded shopping mall is probably a bad idea.
Black Friday has now, unfortunately, in my opinion, spread around the world, showing up across Europe and beyond. However, the name hasn't always followed. In Australia, the term Black Friday refers not to shopping at all, but to the devastating Black Friday bushfires, which occurred in Victoria from 1938 to 1939.
And in the UK, the term Black Friday originated with the police and National Health Service to refer to the Friday before Christmas. Apparently, emergency services have to activate contingency plans on that day to cope with the increase in workload due to many people going out drinking the last Friday before the holiday.
Which is a very real thing. It is carnage in the UK usually on that day, because there's like a lot of when the office parties are and stuff, right? But this hasn't actually stopped the adoption of the term Black Friday for shopping, which among the general public here has become the name of the shopping event. It does frustrate me in a way because the ties in America are tenuous. For here, it's like nothing happened on that Thursday, which would require the Friday to that because it's not a fixed day in the year. That's why it bothers me, right? Like if Black Friday was always the 26th of November, I'd be like, okay, now we've all just assigned it. But it's like, no, the rest of the world will just wait. And it's like, oh, the final Friday. It's like, it just annoys me. It annoys me.
Yeah, in America, where Thanksgiving is, and it should spread around the world because it's a great holiday. Turkey.
Well, Canada has one.
Hang out with families. Yeah, theirs is in the wrong place, though. Little fun fact. We're full of fun facts today. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed a proclamation changing Thanksgiving to the next to last Thursday in November. Apparently, it used to move around a lot, but then they structured it in there. And in 1941, it changed again to the fourth Thursday in November. So we haven't been always consistent, is what I'm saying. In the age of the internet, we've all seen news reports and videos of violence and chaos erupting when crowds squeeze into stores to get their hands on the holiday's biggest hits.
This is what everyone's been waiting for us to talk about during this episode.
Mm-hmm. One of the first examples of this that went viral took place in 2008 when a 34-year-old Walmart employee was trampled to death in New York State. Crowds pushed in the doors to the store before the opening time of 5 a.m., leading to the tragedy.
2 years later, a woman was arrested for threatening to shoot other shoppers outside of a Toys R Us store in Wisconsin unless they let her cut in line. The same year, New York saw another trampling incident, this time at a Target. Thankfully, no one was killed, but some injuries were reported.
In 2011, discounted Xbox 360s drew large crowds to Walmart locations. In California, a woman used pepper spray to disable fellow shoppers, while another location Walmart had in the same state was home to a non-fatal shooting. Thankfully, it was non-fatal, but still not good. And for the third time in 4 years, a trampling took place, but this time in West Virginia. A 61-year-old man fell to the floor sick and was ignored by the large crowd until an ER nurse noticed him, but by then it was too late.
In 2013, police and shoplifters tangled in both Illinois and New Jersey, with the former including an officer being dragged behind a suspect's car outside of a department store.
In 2014, we saw the terribleness spread to Thanksgiving Day itself, when 2 women were arrested in LA for fighting over a Barbie doll. The next day, on Black Friday itself, a group of 5 shoppers were arrested in California for a brawl that sent one person to the hospital with minor injuries.
2016 saw 2 shootings. One in New Jersey left a 21-year-old dead and his SUV riddled with bullets. In Memphis, one man was injured in a shooting at a mall.
I remember that one. It was not a great time here.
And of course, more shootings took place in 2018 and 2019. But I don't want to talk about this anymore because it's absolutely ridiculous and it infuriates me, and people need to get a sense of humanity.
Increasingly, people are just staying home. Back in 2017, many major retailers saw their sites go down on Black Friday, leading to large infrastructure improvements for the next shopping season.
A whole world of advertising and sales tips has popped up online, with many large companies preparing their specials weeks or months in advance, and in recent years, those internal documents have begun to leak out to the wider internet. Walmart, Target, Staples, and others have claimed that these documents are copyrighted and include trade secrets, but Black Friday websites are still alive and well, despite many DMCA takedowns being issued.
We do have to talk about Cyber Monday just briefly.
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday! It started in 2005, born by the National Retail Federation as an attempt to separate in-person Black Friday demand and online demand by making those virtual deals appear a few days later. In 2014, Cyber Monday was the busiest day of the year for online shopping, with sales exceeding $2 billion on desktop online spending, and it's only gone up from there.
Don't forget Small Business Saturday.
Yes, Giving Tuesday. There's lots of fun stuff.
So many days. But at a certain point, there'll be like 2.5 weeks of different themed shopping days, I'm sure.
You know, Amazon's did like Black Friday in June or something a couple years ago.
Prime Day.
Prime Day.
Prime Day.
Prime Day.
Prime Day comes many times a year.
I'd like to thank Emily for this trip down Capitalism Road.
We should create Membership Monday.
Membership Monday! But the show comes out on Tuesdays.
Next Monday, then. Just everyone could just become a member.
So next Monday, become a member. You can do that by going to relay.fm/ungeniused, and you can sign up to support the show directly. A huge thank you to those of you who do that already. It means a ton to us. If you go there, you can also read about Black Friday, but I don't recommend it. Just move on with your life. It's over now. We've passed it. It doesn't come back around for many, many months.
Hey, look, and now when you're next at the Thanksgiving table and your cousin says, don't you know that Black Friday is because it's when companies get turned to the black, you can say, well, actually, cousin, it's not as simple as that. And then just press play on the show. That's the easiest way to do it.
Have it queued up. All right, you can find us online. The show is at Ungeniused on Twitter. You can find Mike there as IMYKE, and I am ISMH. And until our next PlayStation bludgeoning, Mike, say goodbye.
My word. Goodbye.
Bye, y'all.